What's the fastest way to ruin your YouTube reputation? Is it mixing fact with fiction when covering serious investigations?
It is half fiction that is parallel to the real story, and then there's just the real story.
Or is it lying about catching predators so that viewers support you on Patreon?
You can watch my back real good by supporting me on Patreon. Link in description.
Or maybe, is it threatening and harassing other creators who didn't spread your message?
But I am being the nicest I could be. I could literally cancel you, Charlie, and I choose not to. I'm the friggin' pedo hunter.
Perhaps the better question is, how did he get away with it not once, but multiple times? Hi, I'm the InternetAnarchist. I create weekly YouTube documentaries, and today, we'll be diving into the disturbing decisions that led one of YouTube's most respected predator hunters, MamaMax, to losing over 50,000 subscribers in January of 2024 alone, possibly ending his well-respected career on YouTube.
I consider them a liar.
He's a complete fraud, dishonest, exploitative. He was deceiving everyone all along.
Max's main channel, MamaMax, was created on the 26th of May 2016, with his first upload coming just 2 days later. However, judging from the comments, Max already had a dedicated fanbase that loved him long before his channel existed, with comments reading, "We have missed you, Mama. Glad you're back. The king is back." The love and admiration towards Max only grew, as Max discussed themes of emotional distress in his Life Sucks series, which was meant to comfort viewers going through similar negative emotions. While there were light-hearted uploads like his Saving Game documentary series and his anime reviews, a majority of the subject matter on Max's channel was dark and edgy in nature, something that would only get worse with time. By the 27th of March 2020, Max uploaded the video cartoonincorporated.mp4, which would go on to set the tone for his channel moving forwards.
Today, you and I are gonna hunt some.
The upload featured Max documenting his journey through the dark recesses of YouTube in search of users with malicious intent towards children. At the time, YouTube was dealing with an overwhelming infestation of predators, and through videos like this, Max made it his mission to bring them to justice. Max's surreal editing style and provocative elements propelled the video to over 2 million views, bringing in overwhelming support for his attempts to clean up YouTube, and Cartoon Incorporated was the first in a long line of so-called predator hunting videos that were uploaded to his channel, with videos like kidschat.net and mylol.apk receiving millions of views and hundreds of Patreon pledges. Max had found not just financial success, but an identity. At this point, Max had fully leaned into this edgy investigator persona that thrived from exposing predators. Unfortunately, this kind of content could get any creator in trouble with YouTube's strict moderation, and Max was no exception. On the 13th of September 2020, Max received a strike on his video titled "Hunting Predators on a Children's Dating App for Harassment." He responded to the situation by confronting YouTube about the decision to take down the video.
Where the fuck were you? Sipping on your Fenty Frappuccino at YouTube HQ when I was in the trenches with them. I worked 3 long, hard, traumatizing months on this project, trying to fix the injustice that has been wrought on the internet, just for you to obliterate it completely. You treat criminals better than you treat your own creators. This is not the first time you protected pedophiles.
Max would end his rant by asking his viewers to reach out to either YouTube or any other popular creators to get answers on why the platform was supposedly protecting pedos.
All I ask is for you to tweet to Team YouTube, Susan Wojcicki, H3H3, Philip DeFranco, Moist Critical, Scarce, Keemstar, Markiplier, or whoever your preferred voice to get through to YouTube is, with the message.
The hashtag AnswerUsPedoTube almost immediately gained traction on Twitter, morphing into numerous viewers and creators making the black and white argument that either YouTube supported his cause or they were protecting predators. However, the situation was far more nuanced than that.
So when it comes to YouTube and when it comes to the idea of, hey, is this site picking a side between protecting individuals that are predatory? And I feel that if you have predatory issues on your platform, you should use your platform to call out actual predators on the internet. Again, this content, some of the people that are making it sometimes will go above and beyond with their storytelling or their coverage, where they may unintentionally violate something TOS related. They may reveal personal information. They may show some. And in that case, YouTube has to act in favor of a predator. At least that's what it appears to be. It's not that YouTube, I think, is assisting any predators. It's literally because the content that is uploaded may not have been checked or screened hard enough, and YouTube has had to enact its TOS on that content.
The 27th of December 2021, Max had acquired a second strike, and with it came another campaign against YouTube. While the goal of eradicating predators on the platform was a noble one, the methods that Max employed were becoming increasingly more problematic. The video titled "Pickaside.win" served as a catalyst for getting YouTube's attention, and while it seemed well-meaning at first, the conversation quickly shifted to Max accusing YouTube of some very horrible things. The first portion of the video was a compilation of various creators sharing complaints about moderation on the platform. In contrast, the second half of the video saw Max borderline demanding that popular creators like Charlie, Philip DeFranco, Ethan, and Cop's husband spread the hashtag. He even threatened Cop's husband to speak on the matter based on past personal issues.
Corpse, I know you have nothing to do with this. But with all of your power, influence, and the favor you owe me, I just couldn't help myself. So, remember when you reached out after years of not speaking to me while I was at the hospital tending to my sick girlfriend, and you kept trying to rush me home to do you a huge favor, and then you threw me under the bus for something you did? So, how about you do me the fucking favor this time and talk about something besides yourself for once? It will give you a good look.
To top things off, Max directly accused YouTube of loving predators.
And tonight, YouTube will choose: let die the pedophiles they love, or suffer the little children. And by the end of the night, I want Twitter to be a shitstorm.
Max was already crossing the line to get his point across, and it was only a matter of time before someone called him out for it. On the 28th of December 2021, Tommy C went live to YouTube to give his reaction to Max's Pick a Side video, and within minutes he had already identified the major pitfalls that were going unnoticed.
I have looked at it. I have also looked at the way it was presented, this sort of us or them mentality. And the only time you use an us or them type tactic is, in my experience, is so it's easier to cover up the flaws.
Tommy went on to point out the fact that Max framed things as either you agree and support our cause or you're a predator, as well as stating that the campaign was more about Max and less about the children he claimed to protect. Before Tommy could fully go through the video, Max entered the stream chat and demanded that they entered a call.
I just was informed MamaMax is interested in talking, and he's in waiting call right now.
Well, he's gonna have to wait because I'm going through this nightmare. And I said I've only skimmed some of it. I want to get a live reaction to this. This is the way it's being presented right here.
Hey, Tommy, can you pause it real quick?
Sure.
MamaMax is in the chat trying to bait you to bring him on. He's saying, wish we could have talked like adults, man.
Talk like adults? You didn't make a fucking video like a fucking adult. Don't give me this. You should have contacted me ahead of time. By the way, did we go through something like this last year? Your time's up. And you know what? You're going to wait until my show's done instead of you coming in here and throwing one red herring after another to trying to get away from the fact that this is slop.
By the time he was done reacting to the video, Tommy was firmly in the opinion that Max was trying to use other creators to promote his guideline disputes with YouTube and use the veil of children vs predators to cover his intent. With that being said, one section of Max's video stood out to Tommy above all, specifically when Max used a clip of Tommy but never actually reached out to him to cover the story.
So, again, I'm gonna have to upset all of my
I get in here. Unbelievable. You know what? You know what that tells me? He didn't send me the fucking DM because he knew I would fucking see right through it. He knew I would expose him, and he figured putting me at the end. This is a threat. This is a fucking threat.
When Max was questioned on the Half-Baked podcast about the objective of the hashtag Pick a Side movement, he immediately dodged the question.
You used it to try to reach bigger YouTubers, but is any of this like, this is a way to make my channel go to the next level?
No, I think my channel get taken down for making a video like this. Everyone's saying, be careful, like, don't let your channel get terminated. I want to see some progress, specifically with YouTube and us.
Ultimately, Max had got everything he wanted. Pick a side YouTube had taken over online discourse, his platform was flooded with new supporters, and YouTube provided him with a channel manager. However, that outcome led Max to believe two very destructive ideas. One, anyone that questioned him, his mission, or the methods he used was to be labeled a predator. And two, the quickest way to spread the message was to get other established creators to signal boost it. Nothing illustrates the first point better than how Max attacks the reputations of both Magnetar and Tommy. His video titled "Believe All Abusers," which was meant to debunk allegations from his ex-girlfriends, devolved into an attack of the YouTuber who posted them, Magnetar. While the allegations and claims from both parties are concerning, I'd like you to focus on how Max used his platform and status as a quote predator hunter to confidently label Magnetar as one. Worse still, he did it with little to no evidence besides the testimony of one witness, doxing Magnetar in the process.
Anthony Field, Haley's boyfriend, Magnetar on YouTube, the one who published this video on me.
To back up these claims, Max shows a long list of DMs and the claims of one girl.
He graduated high school and he was an adult. He sent his to a high schooler who was around 14 years old or 15 years old. We were like hanging out and she was like, this guy sent me his We're like kids, so we're just like, oh my gosh.
Max goes on to state that the evidence on Magnetar is insufficient to build a case, despite claiming he's had hundreds of victims.
But I have not made a video on him, despite wanting to all these years, because I do not want to harass them, and I feel this is not enough evidence to build an entire case against him. So I have not and will not until we have more proof. We know that he has multiple victims spanning the past 8 years, and if anyone wants to come forward, email me with the subject line, Anthony Field.
Accusing people of being predators wasn't always something Max did directly, as seen in his response to Tommy C. During his documentary titled "This Is What Happened to a Child Predator" on TikTok, Max took out some of the video's runtime to gloat about the success of Pick a Side YouTube and demean Tommy C for going against them.
From the very DNA I designed the Pick a Side campaign, we impelled the mobs to howl our message into the high heavens, some with a bit more salt than others.
While showing out-of-context clips of Tommy that made him look crazy, Max sprinkled in over 15 QR codes that contained messages meant to put down his opposition and imply they were a predator. These accusations wouldn't go unnoticed by Max's community, as both Tommy and Magnetar received ample harassment from them over the years. The power was already clouding Max's judgment, and if he deemed a message or case was worth sharing, then it was going to be shared by every creator he knew, whether they liked it or not. Sadly, that tactic only worked the first 2 times. By the time he went for the 3rd attempt, people began looking into his claims more seriously, and what they found upended Max's entire career. Lately, I've been always on the move, from checking the mountains of Thailand to spending hours grinding video editing. And there's one thing that's been a game changer for me. This video's sponsor Raycon and their everyday earbuds. Whether I'm listening to energizing music while working out, or listening to a podcast on my daily commute, Raycons are the way to go. Why? For starters, the audio quality is top-notch, rivaling other premium brands but at half the price. And with their comfortable fit, they stay put no matter what I'm doing. Plus, I'm always impressed by the battery life. 8 hours of playtime and a 32-hour battery case mean I'm all set for the day and then some. One of my favorite features is the customizable sound profiles. Whether I'm in the mood for crystal clear podcasts or deep bass for my playlists, Raycon have me covered. And the tap functions make it super easy to control my music without missing a beat. So if you're looking for affordable, quality earbuds that fit your active lifestyle, Raycons are it. Click the link in the description or go to buyraycon.com/InternetAnarchist to get 20% off your purchase. Trust me, your ears will thank you. Now let's get back into the video. On the 27th of October 2023, following a 4-month hiatus, Max renamed his channel to God Cult, unlisted all his previous uploads, and published a video titled "Brainwash Your Favorite Influencer."
Welcome to your programming. Kindly send this video to your favorite influencer. We will test them on the content of their character. Do not listen to their words. Look at their actions. Let us begin.
After priming viewers with several philosophical questions, Max details a story of a girl whom a werewolf cult leader allegedly victimized.
On March 18th, 2016, Spencer, A 16-year-old girl from Wiley, Texas, mysteriously disappeared, lured by the illusion of joining a supernatural family as a vampire on some random corner of the internet. She actually found herself ensnared in a dangerous cult led by a child predator posing as a werewolf god.
Max spent the rest of the video trying to provoke his audience into reaching out to larger channels that could help spread Spencer's testimony. Although the claims made in the video were shocking, Max had provided almost no evidence to support them. It was as if Max expected the internet to pick up the story based on the statements of a single individual. By now, viewers had begun to connect the dots, and the comment section was flooded with aggressive criticism towards Max. In a bid to turn the public opinion in his favor, Max disabled the comment section and directed viewers to a live stream on Spencer's channel to further elaborate on the case.
It was basically a supernatural cult where he convinced all of us that we were vampires, werewolves, hybrids, celestials, and all this shit. Like, and then he would sit there and claim that he knew God, and then there was one point in the cult where God was dead and he was the new God.
The stream was 4 hours long and mostly featured Spencer's account of a time in the alleged werewolf cult. The extreme duration of the stream and the lack of substantial evidence put many of the viewers off from interacting with it, which was something Max couldn't tolerate. On the 11th of November 2023, Max published the video titled "This is what happened to MamaMax," where he vented his frustration at the lack of support from his viewers and fellow content creators, at times mocking both parties for not seeing the significance of what he was creating.
If PewDiePie can come back and talk about Sniper Wolf, then he and others can talk about the nightmarish realities that millions of children are enduring every day. Last week, I released a charity video in collaboration with the survivors of a destructive cult that has victimized hundreds of minors. Despite its significance, it turned out to be the worst performing video on my channel.
The black and white thinking from previous campaigns was on full display as Max berated the online community for not joining him on another crusade of internet chaos.
I had hoped that influencers, especially those who've interacted with my content before, would step up, even if it was part of a more lighthearted stream, like a Halloween special. Unfortunately, it seems that self-preservation outweighs child welfare for most influencers.
Max was fixating on metrics and negative feedback instead of trying to handle the case properly, or at the very least, explaining it coherently. To many, it seemed like this case wasn't about the victims of abuse, and instead was about Max getting the recognition and praise he thought he deserved. This line of thinking was further supported by Max's next upload, titled "This is the greatest cancellation of all time" at Penguinz0, now retitled "Reacting to the Reactions of SS Sniper Wolf's Actions." The video was another desperate grab at attention, but this time Max implied that the issues he discussed were far more important than what anyone else had to say, and therefore other creators were obligated to talk about it, especially Charlie. Max had reached out to Charlie concerning the case before and wasn't going to stop until he got a reply.
Charlie, you are a voice heard by millions. We reached out hoping for a private response at the very least. Your platform has the power to drive significant change, yet many voices remain unheard amid the digital clamor. You've built a platform that resonates with a vast audience, a platform that has the incredible potential not just to entertain, but to empower. Your voice can reach corners of the internet that many of us cannot, making you not just an influencer, but a potential catalyst for much needed awareness and action.
There were many things Max could have done to get the word out, but trying to guilt others into doing it for him was the worst way possible to handle it, something that he would immensely regret in the coming months. To offset the criticism and explain his actions, Max went on a now deleted stream titled "Fight Me" to discuss the points being made against him. However, that didn't work well for them, as Max and Spencer were mostly condescending towards the critics while putting their message on an untouchable pedestal, a stance that only alienated people they were trying to convince.
And just overall, it's one of the strangest, weirdest videos, and kind of guilt-tripping people into doing the same type of content he's making, when most of us, and actually...
Alright, I'm not trying to guilt trip y'all. I am telling y'all the truth, the objective truth. There are millions of children that are enslaved that need our help.
Charlie's brief response to the situation a few days later only added to the growing outrage towards Max.
Stop ignoring MamaMax. Yeah, so here, you want me to talk about it a little bit? That rubbed me the wrong way. We talked like a month ago about like what he was working on in his investigation, and then apparently when I had COVID, he messaged me a couple times and I never saw it, and now he's taken that as me ghosting him and ignoring his very important mission, and it really rubs me the wrong way.
Unfortunately, that wasn't enough to make Max reconsider his actions, as he continued to go live to talk about the case while refusing to give any evidence or answer questions directly.
Just because Charlie is a big YouTuber, there shouldn't be an expectation that he should be able to cover like child fucking like or child trafficking or human trafficking. You know, that's ridiculous to try to push that onto him, and you're doing it very in a manipulative way.
Spencer, what do you think?
Who cares about Spencer? You're the guy with the fucking platform. I'm sorry, all due respect, but I don't give a fuck about this person's opinion. You're the one of 760k subs. What the fuck?
Max was clearly not ready to have a productive dialogue on how to go about the case, and instead wanted to garner more publicity and donations by interviewing survivors on stream or threatening other creators to cover it. Max was prioritizing getting more eyes on the investigation, but he failed to realize that it would lead to more scrutiny around all his previous investigations. Users on Reddit began taking a closer look at Max's catalog and made several chilling observations. Reading, "I think MamaMax has faked some of his content. This may be already obvious to some folks, but it's wild to me that he insists these are real situations. There's so many story conveniences and coincidences in his videos," as well as Max's mega upload suspended and reported to law enforcement, with the account being taken down for possible child exploitation material. From uncovering inconsistencies in his previous uploads to finding objectionable content in his mega folders, users were poking noticeable holes in Max's facade as a predator hunter. However, it was Max who truly tore down his reputation. On the 5th of January 2024, Max started what would now be known as the worst and longest live stream of his career. For the first half of the 8-hour stream, Max interviews 2 new survivors, while deflecting critical questions from viewers about what he was doing.
Keg says... Keg keeps donating. Why are you supporting this if you disagree with it? He said, clearly more interested in virtue signaling and moral support than fixing peds. I'm outie. Camden is nothing. Small fry. Way bigger systems out there. That's very disrespectful. And he is part of the system just as you are, just as we all are.
When the viewers weren't able to get through to Max, his close friends and fellow creators called in to talk some sense into him, but sadly, that didn't work either.
There's a way to present this, there's a way to handle this before you get to that point, right? And that's what we need to be focusing on. That's like where everything needs to be centered on, is where I'm at. And that's all I really can say about the situation.
Okay, so I would have really appreciated this like 2 months ago when we first reached out. I reached out to you and multiple other creators asking for help, and none of you were responsive. I understand y'all are busy and doing your own things, but this is the first time I've ever handled a case of this complexity and magnitude, and that is why I was asking for help.
If you go to police and they say, okay, yay, we're going to go get him or whatever, I don't know, live in a dreamland, whatever you want to feel, are you going to court after that?
I'm unsure about the entire process. I think that's the job of the district attorney, but y'all would likely, the survivors would likely appear as witnesses.
Okay. What bothers me is your answer right there. You've been doing this for 5 years and you don't know how the process goes?
To cover his blunder, Max immediately made the stream private and threatened to flag channels that re-uploaded it, with a tweet from Lyrics reading, "MamaMax just threatened to flag my channel." Shortly after our debate last night, he DMs me at 2 AM, asking to censor/take down my stream because of a privacy complaint he has, and I complied, but then accuses me of bullying victims, not true for your information, heavily implying he's going to flag me. The recent streams weren't the only thing Max was trying to hide, as he either deleted or unlisted his previous uploads. Unfortunately for Max, there were 2 videos on the horizon that he couldn't strike down, both containing information that revealed just how badly the investigation was going. From the 17th to the 18th of January 2024, Nicholas Diorio and Mudaha from Some Ordinary Gamers would publish their respective hour-long reports on Max's investigation. Nick's video came first and mostly explored the the unethical practices that had infested Max's investigation, one of which was Max's conflict of interest when it came to Spencer. Spencer was a close family friend who was now living with Max, receiving income from his streams, and was put in charge of handling funds that would be allocated to the other 7 known survivors. Next, Nick looked into the convoluted information given to the viewers during the God Cult campaign, concluding that Max had never fully explained what exactly the werewolf cult was, or even given it a name. Then, there was the matter of the previous investigations having either inconsistent information, weak evidence, or none at all, which led Nick to speculate on whether or not any other predators were actually arrested.
I don't give a shit if my video comes back up. It did what it needed to do. The rapist that was in the video is currently in police custody.
Was that as a result of your video, or was that prior to the video?
Yes, it was because of the video. I don't know if the police asked him to come back, or he went on his own volition, or they forced him to come back. I don't know any of those details. I just know he went back to Canada and was in police custody for a certain amount of time.
Throughout the video, Nick included snippets from a Discord call between him, Muda, and Max, which showed Max's unwillingness to confront reality.
Yeah, why are you putting it all on me?
Because it's your case!
The one bringing it. Why are you
Absolutely. I am the first one.
Yeah.
You are the only one. You haven't convinced anyone to come on board yet.
You haven't convinced exactly.
That's
you haven't
because
made
you haven't been listening to this.
That's because you haven't been giving anybody anything to work with.
Like this for months.
Yeah, and I've had a 2-hour-long call, and I'm not moving anywhere close to the situation.
Muta, why can't you take initiative to talk to other survivors?
Well, I'm talking to you right now more than anybody else.
Shortly after, Muda published his take on the subject and covered similar points to the ones Nick made. However, Muda made sure to shed light on the incompetent tactics that Max built this case on. According to Muda, the investigation into the werewolf cult had not yet yielded enough evidence to support Max's outrageous claims. Remember, Max was accusing someone of serious crimes against hundreds of children, but only gave spoken word testimony to back those accusations.
In the same video where he is discussing very serious allegations and very, very serious stories regarding victims, you can imagine why a lot of people are looking at this as him treating this as a joke. It's not a joke. This is serious. And in reality, what are people like Mr. Beast? What are people like PewDiePie gonna do? What are you gonna bring his kid into this? What, he's a father now, so he's not going to signal boost unsubstantiated claims?
As his credibility faded away, Max was frantically trying to shift the narrative with his "I place accountability in my own hands" video. You'd expect the title and thumbnail to be followed by a straightforward apology from Max, but that wasn't what viewers got. Instead, they were treated to 15 minutes of Max avoiding the mess that he had created.
I've got people telling me just talk about the case and nothing else. I've got people telling me just address the criticisms. I've got people telling me just apologize. I feel like I'm being pulled in every which way, and no matter how hard I try, I cannot make everyone happy. People say just wait for law enforcement to do something, but we've waited 7 years and they haven't done anything. So we decided to just go public with it and put eyes on him, and people wanted evidence, so we've been inviting people to our little server where we have the evidence. But then people don't want to listen to the survivors when they're in there and just look at the evidence and conclude it's nothing.
Max wasn't fooling anyone with that approach. Members of the audience that once defended Max were now begging him to either tackle the case professionally or drop it. And you know there's a problem when comments have more likes than the actual video itself. Max's subpar apology was only a ploy to sway public opinion, and it was failing horribly. Pair this with the fact that there were Discord leaks of him threatening legal action against Muda, and it is no wonder why the apology fell flat, with a text reading, "Spencer and I are considering a class action lawsuit against Mudaha for breaching our non-disclosure agreement. Is extremely rich, so the lawsuit seeks $1 million in damages to be distributed between you all." This goes on to show that Max's priorities weren't aligned with solving the case, but rather he was solely set on maximizing personal gain. From the 19th to the 21st of January 2024, Slug, Max's former editor, took to YouTube and Reddit to leak footage of Max saying what he truly thought about people like Charlie.
I could literally cancel you, Charlie. I could literally cancel you, and I choose not to. It's true though. It's the truth. Like, I'm the friggin' pedo hunter. Like,
watching Max say things like this would lead anyone to the conclusion that he had lost his grip on reality and assumed his status as, quote, Hunter gave him the power to cancel other creators, something that would only become more apparent. Around the time the leak from Slug went live, news broke that an anonymous Discord user had infiltrated Max's private investigation server, leaking all the evidence he was saving for the legal case. Apparently, they were able to enter the server by pretending to be a survivor, and were given full access after signing an NDA.
I know you are dealing with a lot of harassment and going through a lot of stuff. Is it possible you could invite me to the Discord server where the other victims are? I want to share my story in a place where I can feel safe and not be doxxed or harassed. Yes, we can invite you. Thank you. Again, you have done so much for the victims. I'm blessed to have met you, and I hope Camden can finally face justice. For the safety of the server, may I please ask for your full name? My name is Max Striker. It's a pleasure to meet you. They give a voice message and then say Jamie Fields, which is a fake name. But that's the only verification that Max has done to allow some random shitter in his Discord server to see all of the evidence. All you have to do is just play the part decently well, say that you were fucking abused and diddled by Camden, give a fake full name, and boom, you see all of the fucking evidence that he's protecting for the legal case, and then spreads it out to the internet to see.
As you'd expect, Max was flagging videos that mentioned the leak to cover up this blunder.
MamaMax, in his evidence-like Discord server, is now like flagging and telling his whole server, which granted, his server is probably only 20 people, 30 people max, but he's now enforcing his whole server to go report and flag it seems like my VOD, it seems like Mr. Sen's VOD. Anyone who's talking about the leaks, he's now reporting or flagging and outright calling for that. Seems like this guy spends more time fucking doing this shit than actually trying to catch Camden on his case.
There was no way Max could feasibly hide this fiasco, as more and more of his secrets were going public with each passing day. On the 3rd of February 2024, Nicholas returned to cover the MamaMax situation through the upload titled, "This video will make you hate MamaMax," which brought forward an obscene amount of damning information from Max's past. Alongside his coverage of Max's blunders from the previous weeks, Nicholas detailed how Max maliciously destroyed the career of a former friend and supporter, NightDoc.
NightDoc, or Jim, was a proud MamaMax supporter during the Pick a Side YouTube campaign, so much that he called in to actually debate me 2 years ago and defend Max's character from scrutiny. Like Max and many of their mutuals, Jim is a video essayist who makes long-form content. He was also firmly in the friend group of Max, Nexpo, Mutahar, and others just a few short years ago. Now I'm sure you're wondering, Nick, what happened to this up-and-coming YouTuber with all of these widely successful friends and connections? The reality was, NightDoc was cast out of his social circle because Max spread rumors that he was a bad father, a creep to women, and worst of all, a pedophile.
It seems Max didn't limit the predator accusations to just his enemies, but also his friends. You might be wondering why Max never made these accusations public given his previous job title. Well, it was because he didn't have any evidence to back it up besides his testimony.
So regarding Jim, there were two specific stories that Max really harped on when it came to NightDoc, at least whenever we had our little, I guess, falling out. So Max was convinced that Jim was this pedophile creep, and he backed up this claim with, firstly, a story about an inappropriate conversation that he claimed Jim had with a minor. As it turned out, this person was not a minor at all. They had told Jim their age at one point, which I believe was 25 or so. I'm not entirely sure, but that's that whole story that Max always preferred to back whenever he would call Jim a predator. There was another story that led to more of Max believing Jim to be, I guess, a creep. And it involved one trip to a restaurant that he and Jim had way back when Max was living with Jim. Apparently Jim was, making moves on the waitress and, continuously hitting on her, and he just wouldn't stop. And it made this, I guess, situation, or this dinner that they were at, very tense and awkward. Basically, every single time that I was with Max during the time when we had our, I guess, falling out, I guess you could call it, Max would perpetuate this narrative that Jim was this creep, and he would always refer back to these 2 stories, and I guess I just never really vetted them.
In regards to Jim or Night Docs, there were 2 allegations, one of them which had come from Max, allegedly, in amongst a friend group, about him not being necessarily the best dad. There were 2 key things. One of them was him being asleep most days, and then the other was that Max would have to step in and feed his children cereal or whatever else was in the house. This is something that I heard, again, not from Max, but through our internal friend group. And while this one definitely raised some questions about, okay, you know, gotta be attentive if you're the dad, it wasn't necessarily the most serious thing. However, what was more serious was the allegation where he had allegedly started unzipping himself in front of a minor, exposing himself over a Discord video call. Now, I actually confronted Jim about this one specifically because I wasn't exactly, I need to know the bottom of this truth, or I need to understand or at least get his side, because obviously I met the person in reality. Me and my wife confronted him, and in this situation, Jim obviously categorically denied that he had done anything, but I didn't have any evidence for or against Jim, and you know, in spite of all that, I still decided to, you know, hold back my connection, not talk as much anymore. We weren't necessarily the most talkative people anyways, but this absolutely sealed the deal.
Max was not just making baseless accusations, but he was making them on a friend that defended, housed, and fed him for months. Accusations that separated him from his friend group and almost pushed him over the edge.
When I lost all my friends, I just went away from YouTube and all that. Like, I just lost all of my self-esteem. I just felt like I was like irredeemable. There was something wrong with me that I just, nobody would ever want to be around me. And I had no idea what it was that I did, but I was like, I'm obviously just a piece of shit.
So you'd say this impacted your career, I guess?
Absolutely, it impacted my career. I completely fell off. I ended up hospitalized. Like, I genuinely ended up hospitalized. I came within hours of doing something very permanent and very stupid. It was the last straw.
To add a cherry on top, Nicholas included the full Discord call he and Muda had with Max, which really allows you to see how deviously Max used his past credibility and platform to justify his unethical behavior. The call started normally, with Muda and Nicholas trying to get to the bottom of the Candom case. However, once they inquired on why evidence hadn't been shared with other creators, Max said,
"Yes, so I would like to explain my position on this."
Sure.
So the purpose of the NDA is to protect the survivors. Like, that is why the NDA protects their anonymity and for them to be able to give the approval of what they want to share. But we do want to like let people in and see like what is occurring here. It's just my priority has been to protect the survivors.
Okay, but you do understand, say Charlie looks at everything, hypothetical, right? Charlie can't then go, guys, there's a predator on the loose. I saw it on Discord. That wouldn't be sufficient for his audience.
Max then goes on to affirm that witness testimony is more than enough for backing serious allegations.
I am just trying to get the word out that this is Camden Gerard Davis. This is what the accusations against him are. And it's also, you can also like, we are fine saying this is all alleged. Like, we are fine if...
Well, you can't just say it's alleged now.
No, because... Yeah, 100%. That's not...
Yeah.
I'm fine doing it because I trust them. But all I wanted to do...
But you said you didn't review most of the evidence besides Spencer, though.
I reviewed the evidence. I just haven't had the context as to what it is pertaining to.
Even claiming that other creators have made similar allegations with less evidence.
I hope it's clear why I'm so willing to just call him a cult leader and sexual predator. I feel there's enough here. People have gone by with a lot less. Even Charlie has called people without any hard evidence.
Who specifically?
Who was it? Was it Sneeko?
Bro, I mean, Sneeko was literally defending the shit out of cuties. Let's not pretend. Come on.
All right, well, that's my argument. Like,
you know how many clips of him on Kick would exist of him saying minors are, come on, like.
That's, I mean, it's comparable to Anthony Field with multiple testimonies against him. It's comparable.
Basing such a serious case on accusations alone was a recipe for disaster, and Max was too blinded by glory and money to see it. Now, he's lost both things he valued the most. Max's entire career was based on the fact that he was going after the most vile predators on the internet. It was the reason the YouTube community overlooked his of power and desperate attempts to signal boost his channel by threatening larger creators, all while giving thousands of dollars each month to fund his supposed one-man assault on predators. Unfortunately, once Max lost that air of authority, people became less willing to give him a pass for doxing people and relying on testimony as his sole piece of evidence. Ironically, Max got the response from Charlie, but it would cost him his reputation, credibility, and over 50,000 subscribers. Considering the fact that each day brings more and more revelations about who Max truly is, it's safe to say he has had a dramatic fall from grace, but is nowhere near the bottom. But Max isn't the only one faking his content. On a less serious note, Eric was found faking his videos. Click on screen to find out how.